Hey everyone, glad to have you here with us. Seems like a lot of you are interested in XRP these days.
Yeah, no doubt.
And while I can't say I blame you, this token, it's been uh, pretty wild lately, hitting a 7-year high and then taking some dips.
Definitely a roller.
So the big question on everyone's mind is, I think, where could it possibly go next?
Right.
We came across this article that suggests that XRP could be, kind of warming up for a major rally.
Yeah, that's right. Some analysts are actually predicting that we could see it hit $4.11,
Okay.
or even $5.85.
Wow. Um, okay, so, 145% surge to reach $5.85. That sounds incredibly optimistic.
It does.
So what is it, what evidence are these analysts looking at that's making them think this is even a possibility?
Well, one of the key tools analysts use is something called a Fibonacci retracement.
Right.
And I'm sure you've heard of that before, but essentially what it does is it analyzes historical price data to try and identify potential support and resistance levels. So these levels, basically, they act as a roadmap of sorts, indicating where the price might find support or face resistance as it moves.
So these predictions aren't just, kind of made up. They're based on something.
They're not just pulling these numbers out of thin air.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So for someone who's maybe thinking about investing in XRP, how can understanding these Fibonacci levels be helpful to them?
That's a great question. So let's say you're considering buying XRP, right?
Okay.
These support levels, they could act as potential entry points, allowing you to kind of capitalize on dips. For example, the analysts in the article, they identified key support zones around $2.13 and $1.88.
So knowing these levels, someone could set buy orders around those prices.
Exactly.
Take advantage of those price fluctuations.
Exactly, yeah.
But obviously, with any investment, especially in crypto, risk management is super important.
Absolutely. You always got to keep that in mind.
So,
yeah, no prediction is a guarantee, right?
right.
And market sentiment can sometimes override even the most reliable technical indicators. So it's really important to approach this with a balanced perspective and consider all angles. And, speaking of different perspectives, not all analysts share that same super bullish outlook.
Right.
Some are predicting a potential correction after XRP hits $4.50. And others see the previous peak of $3.84 as a significant hurdle for it to overcome.
That's interesting, yeah, because it's kind of like trying to predict the weather.
Oh.
You can look at all the data in the world, but then there's always a chance that, a storm comes out of nowhere.
Exactly. You just never know for sure.
Right.
So it's really important to weigh all these perspectives and do your own research.
Yeah.
Really consider your own risk tolerance before making any decisions.
Well, and then it gets even more interesting when you consider that there are some analysts that think the bull run might be over altogether.
Right.
And they're actually predicting a drop to $0.60.
Wow.
Which is a huge difference from $5.85.
Yeah, that's a pretty big difference.
So how do those analysts justify being so bearish on XRP?
Well, the crypto market, it's driven by a really complex interplay of factors, and there's very rarely a single explanation for any major price swing.
Sure.
So in this case, the analysts who are predicting a drop, they're likely looking at a combination of technical indicators and market sentiment.
So they're just approaching it with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Yeah, and that's never a bad thing in investing.
It's good to be cautious.
Right, yeah, definitely.
But for someone who's more optimistic about XRP, what are some of the arguments that they might make against that bearish outlook?
Well, one of the most compelling counter-arguments is this idea of 7-year price compression.
Okay.
So imagine you have a spring that's been compressed for years and years.
Okay.
Eventually, it's going to unleash all that pent-up energy. And that's kind of what some analysts believe is happening with XRP right now.
Okay, we touched upon this a bit earlier, but for those who maybe aren't familiar with this idea,
Yeah.
could you break down what caused this compression and why it matters?
Sure. So for the past 7 years, XRP has been trading within a relatively tight range,
Right.
kind of stagnating. And some argue that this was partly due to the whole legal battle between Ripple,
Right.
the company behind XRP,
Yeah.
and the SEC,
Of course.
the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission.
Right.
That lawsuit created a lot of uncertainty for investors.
Yeah.
Kind of cast a shadow over XRP's potential.
That's definitely been a major topic of discussion in the crypto world.
Yeah, a big one.
And I've heard that there have been some positive developments in the case recently.
Yeah, there have been.
Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so recent developments suggest that we might be getting closer to a resolution in that lawsuit.
Okay.
And a lot of people believe that if Ripple wins the case,
Uh-huh.
it would really remove a significant barrier for XRP,
Right.
potentially paving the way for wider adoption
Yeah, that makes sense.
by institutions and investors who have been hesitant to engage because of all the regulatory ambiguity.
So basically, this potential legal victory combined with breaking free from this 7-year price compression,
Right.
that creates a pretty bullish outlook for XRP.
It does. It really does.
Are there any other factors, though, that are contributing to that sentiment?
Yeah, absolutely. Beyond the legal situation,
Okay.
XRP is seeing growing adoption in real-world applications.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's fast transaction speeds and low fees. They make it really attractive for cross-border payments.
Okay.
And we're also starting to see more adoption in DeFi
Right.
and the world of NFTs.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about speculation. It actually has a purpose,
Exactly. It has
Yeah.
real utility.
which is important to a lot of investors.
Right. They want to see real-world use cases.
Absolutely.
And I think that's definitely contributing to the belief that XRP is poised for a significant breakout.
So basically, we're seeing this kind of perfect storm forming
Yeah, you could say that.
with a potential legal win,
Mm-hmm.
this release from price compression, and all this real-world adoption coming together.
Right. All those factors are converging.
And that's leading people to believe that XRP could see a pretty big upward move.
Exactly. It's an exciting time for XRP.
But we should still stay grounded, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We know the crypto market is super volatile.
It is.
Anything can happen.
You never know.
And we still need to acknowledge those who are maybe not so optimistic about XRP.
Right. And it's really important to consider their arguments, too.
Yeah, because they help highlight the need for research and understanding your own risk tolerance.
Yeah, that's key.
Now, before we jump into those other viewpoints,
Okay.
there's one more thing I want to touch on.
Uh-huh.
This whole conversation about price predictions and technical analysis, sometimes I feel like it overshadows the underlying technology
You can.
and the impact it can have.
Ah.
So for someone who's new to XRP, can you explain a bit about what makes its technology unique and why it's getting so much attention?
Sure. So XRP's technology is specifically designed to make cross-border payments faster and more efficient. It uses a consensus mechanism that's different from the typical proof of work or proof of stake, which allows for really quick transaction settlements and significantly lower fees
Wow,
compared to traditional financial networks.
that's a big difference.
Yeah, and that's why it's caught the attention of so many financial institutions and payment providers.
Right, because they're looking to streamline their processes.
Exactly. They want to make things faster and cheaper.
So it's not just about potential profits. It's actually about making a real difference in the financial world.
Right. It's about solving real-world challenges.
And that's important for investors to understand.
Absolutely. It's what separates speculation from a truly informed investment.
Okay, so in this part, we dug a bit deeper into this 7-year price compression idea.
We did.
We looked at the potential impact of that SEC lawsuit
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that XRP is actually being used more and more in the real world.
It is.
Now I think it's time to shift gears
Okay.
and explore those contrasting viewpoints. Welcome back, everyone. So we've spent some time exploring those potential upsides of XRP, the price predictions, the 7-year price compression, even the growing real-world adoption. But just like with any investment, it's important to look at both sides of the coin.
Absolutely. You always want to have a balanced view.
So let's dive into those concerns that some analysts have. What are some of the main risks that they're highlighting?
Well, one of the biggest concerns revolves around regulation.
Okay.
Even if Ripple wins its case against the SEC, there's no guarantee that other regulators around the world won't take a similar stance.
Yeah, that's true. The global regulatory landscape for crypto, it's still pretty uncertain.
It is, and that can make investors hesitant.
For sure. And then there's the issue of competition.
Right.
The crypto market is incredibly crowded,
It's so crowded.
with new projects popping up all the time.
All the time.
So how do those analysts view XRP's ability to compete in such a dynamic environment?
Well, some believe that XRP's reliance on partnerships with financial institutions could be both a strength and a weakness.
Okay, how so?
On the one hand, these partnerships give them access to a vast network,
Right.
but on the other hand, it creates dependencies,
I see.
which could limit XRP's flexibility and agility.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like a trade-off between leveraging those existing networks and being able to innovate on your own.
Exactly. It's a balancing act.
And are there any technical concerns that have been raised?
Yeah, there are actually. Some critics argue that XRP's consensus mechanism, while efficient,
Uh-huh.
isn't truly decentralized.
Okay.
They claim that Ripple still has too much control over the network.
Which goes against that whole decentralized ethos of crypto.
Exactly, and that can be a big issue for some investors.
So it comes down to this fundamental question: does XRP really embody those principles of decentralization that are so important to the crypto philosophy?
Right, and that debate can be a make or break factor for some people.
Because it goes beyond just the price predictions.
It does.
It's about the underlying philosophy of the whole movement.
Ex-
So it seems like with any investment, there's this constant tension between potential rewards and those inherent risks.
There always is.
So after looking at both the bullish and bearish perspectives on XRP, what are some key takeaways that our listeners should keep in mind?
Well, I think the most important takeaway is that there's no easy answer.
Right.
The future of XRP, like any asset in a volatile market, is uncertain.
Yeah.
But what's crucial is to approach it with a balanced and informed perspective.
So don't just blindly follow those price predictions.
No, and don't get swept up in the hype.
Do your research.
Do your research, understand the technology,
The competitive landscape.
the regulation.
Yeah, it's a reminder that knowledge is power, especially in the world of crypto.
It really is, and that's what makes this space so exciting.
It does. It's a constant learning process. It's a journey of exploration.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up our look at XRP,
Okay.
we really encourage you to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and form your own conclusion.
Based on your own research and understanding of the market.
Exactly. Because ultimately, the best investor is an informed investor.
Couldn't agree more.
And on that note, we'll conclude this episode.
Sounds good.
We hope this has been helpful for you as you navigate this exciting and sometimes unpredictable world of cryptocurrency.
It is exciting, that's for sure.
Until next time, happy investing, everyone.
Happy investing.